How's it going, guys? It's Nerf Gun Charlie, and I wanted to give you a quick update on what I'm working on for Future Tense because we're still working on it. Despite the video that you just saw recently, where I've started slowly on the Orb of Time mod, where I'm remastering it, revamping it, we still have work to do in Future Tense. Now, I'm not going to show you, I have decided I'm not going to show you all the missions played out. I showed you the first few. I'm going to leave the rest of the story up in the air for you guys to play through and see. You'll be able to see the README, of course, in the main directory when you download it, but I want to leave the rest of the story for you guys to play. I just don't want to give everything away early on. It's only 6 maps for what we're doing here in the multiplayer, but I did want to give you an update on what I am planning for the epilogue, essentially. And I might do 1 or 2 hidden maps for future tense, quote unquote. You're gonna have plenty of maps to just go against the AI, and if you get this thing working on Game Ranger, player versus player. But this map is the epilogue, map 7. And let's go ahead and launch it real quick. But yeah, we're still working on this. I'm pretty much in the phase now of what can we get working before Q1 of 2025, and what is either not going to work, or it's going to take, and we just take that out, honestly, or what could we make work if we had more time to play with it because it's almost there. We'll probably take those things out and make that like a DLC patch. Like, hey, this is Future Tense 1.1. Patch these things in, and here you go. Here's some new goodies. Here's some additions to these races. Um, I'm kind of in that phase right now, along with locking things down behind research. Federation was done pretty well, but right now I'm working on Klingons, the Romulan Remans, Cyrnax, the Borg, just trying to lock down things properly. And testing AI is probably going to take the whole month to do that to any extent with work and family and all of that. So, like I said, the goal is Q1 2025, and I'm hoping that we can have a better trailer by then as well. I am open to anyone out there that has some decent video uh, making skills. I am open to it, and we can try and make that work. I don't know, but it is what it is. Anyway, back to what we're planning here. This is my epilogue, and don't mind, you know, weirdness going on right here with the Cyrnax ship kind of bugging out. He's stuck against an asteroid field. He's stuck up here. He is literally necessitating player 2, so this map will play for right now. This is what's going to be the epilogue known as the Fleet Museum. And I've toned down all the audio. Of course, you can do your own audio and everything when you're playing this, but I've toned all the audio down. This is going to be the Future Tense Fleet Museum. And right now, the Cyrnax Voyager A is the placeholder for what's going to end up being the Premonition class. Jumping through the timelines, coming into this particular timeline, roughly the year 2501, 2509, somewhere in there, and coming to see the Fleet Museum of this timeline, which will look different than what we saw in Star Trek Picard. And what you're going to end up looking at, as you can see over here, these 2 stations that my Voyager class is desperately trying to warp to, you are going to see Athen Prime, different model, of course, and you're going to start seeing these littered everywhere. I am working on putting a glow on the ring here. This is what is called the museum stabilizer, and it's just like what you saw in the TV show, kind of holding that starship in place with, force fields, tractor beams, that kind of stuff. But we're just going to house our vessels out here in the open. And we're going to have a row of the Federation heroes we want to highlight from the Cyrnax War, because that's currently, if you highlight over Athen Prime, you'll get that in the notes that currently housing vessels from the Cyrenax War, kind of an anniversary, a showcase as it were. And what you're going to see is each hero vessel for each race that we want to highlight from there, along with information. So right now I've got the Enterprise F listed as a Monarch class. When it entered service, when it finally was decommissioned and sent to the Fleet Museum, you'll see that for all the ships. And then each one of these sensor platforms, if you hover over them, will give you additional information on its history. So first one's going to be stats. And if you're wondering how I'm kind of doing these stats, I'm using the ditl.org website. I kind of like how they list out stats for, your torpedo launchers, your phasers, what the kind of hull do you have, your shielding, those kind of things. I kind of like how it lists it out. So that's how we're using here. We're just having fun because it's an era that's not covered. But then after your first log, your subsequent logs on these, however many you have, is going to be a portion, as you can see, of its history from launch through the Cyrenax War and post Cyrenax War, if it survived. I am planning on having one or two ships at least in here that did not survive the war. So if you play this, first, you're going to have some spoilers for the story. Granted, when you're playing the missions, you technically will be able to make for sure that the heroes can survive, but for story purposes, one or two might not. And that's going to be told here and kind of described as, yep, they were lost in the war. Ship was rebuilt in its honor, placed in the museum, or it's a holographic recreation, depending on how I want to word that. But you're going to get excerpts from its missions and what it kind of deals with. And yes, I'm making these up. This is an alt timeline. We're not following any known timeline right now from Picard or any other video game. We're going with our own timeline here. So you're going to have an interesting alt timeline for future tense. But this is what we are working on for our epilogue, the Fleet Museum. Right now, the initial vessels that are going to be housed here for the Federation is going to be the Enterprise F, the Cyrenax Voyager A. That is playable right now. It will not be playable because these starships are being set up as stations because they cannot move. We're also going to have the Defiant, the Challenger, and at the very least, I think we're also going to have the Rhode Island for Captain Kim. So I've got at least 5 Federation heroes planned. I think we've got at least 2 Klingon heroes planned with Martok and Worf. I might do a third one with the third hero I'm kind of planning. I'm not sure. 3 Romulan heroes in Sela, Tomalak, and Saharan. We might do 1 or 2 minor race heroes. They're not really highlighted in the missions. So I'm on the fence on adding those. But I'm thinking after those 3 major rows, we might have a row that is highlighting the Cyrenax vessels. Holographic representations of the Cyrenax vessels and their armaments and a light history from the Virtual Voyager page, the web page, in a few of these particular logs. So that way we can kind of highlight like that, yep, all these heroes in the fleet at that time fought these bad guys. This is what kind of armaments they had and shielding. And this is a very brief, what little we do know kind of history on the Cyrenax and these vessels. And the whole premise is you're going to be able to fly around on this map for as long as you want to. The Cyrenax vessel right now is a placeholder for what your quote unquote enemy is on the map. And like I said, it's going to be the premonition. And it's jumped here because it's detected 2 or 3 temporal distortions on the map. It needs to clear out so that the temporal distortions don't mess with this timeline. It's seen as a timeline that does not need to be messed with. It's a more preferred timeline for the Federation and the galaxy at large. So you're going to come in, you're going to be able to destroy those three temporal distortions that will end the map. So if you go off and destroy the temporal distortions first, map ends early. It's kind of designed where, since they're stationary targets, you can just kind of have fun, take screenshots of the various heroes with the premonition, explore, read up on the lore, just enjoy that post epilogue kind of deal. And then once you're done, once you've had your fill, blow up the temporal distortions and you're out. So that's kind of what we're planning for mission 7. I don't know if I want to do any more past this. I think this is a nice end cap on the story, and please apologize here. Um, I'm on the late effects of a cold, so I do apologize for that one. But I've been losing my voice in and out the last few weeks, is why I've been trying to delay this video, honestly. But this is what we're planning. This is what you're going to have as your end cap. And then, like I said, you'll have plenty of various missions, uh, not missions, but maps to do player versus player, whether it be 1v1, you know, 3 players, 4 players against AI. I'm anticipating, if everything has patched up properly, this could work on a Game Ranger online multiplayer setup like I've seen some Armada 1 groups do. I don't foresee it not working. It's just one of those things. If you have, version 1.0 that I'm releasing and we decide to do a patch, everybody's got to have the patch. One person can't have the 1.1 patch and then nobody else can, so everybody's going to be patched up to the same one, would be my understanding, just so that it works. Because I can't imagine like you're playing vanilla Armada and your buddy is playing Future Tense and that's going to work out well. But that's my understanding of it. This is what we're planning. I'm hoping you guys have liked this glimpse. I will probably highlight more of this map when it's getting closer to completion. I just started it today. If you've been liking what you've been seeing in the video, please like, comment, subscribe. There is more coming. I do apologize for the length of time between videos, but real life does come first. But come hell or high water, this mod is coming out Q1 2025 for you guys to enjoy. I'm working on the next one, and I've kind of made it, maybe to my own detriment, a personal mission. I'm going to, after Orb of Time is finished, I'm just going to slowly go through other Armada 1 mods, remaster them, make sure that they work on the GOG version, and trying to find places where I can house them, because I've found, going through the archives for A1 on various sites, there are mods that I have on my hard drive that no longer exist anywhere else except on the Internet Archive, the Wayback Machine, and you can't even download them. The downloads are broken. So I'm going to try and unload their original versions first on some websites so that we can increase that database, and then we're going to do remastered versions. Enough with the ranting. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Let's go off and see if we can blow up this Cyrenax vessel. It is the weakest of them all. That's kind of why I've added it in here. Ooh. Might have to speed it up. Well, actually, this is a 10,000 unit by 10,000 unit map, so that's why. Normal A1 maps are 6,400 by 6,400, whereas this one's a 10,000 by 10,000, so that's probably why it's taking so much longer to warp across. And I think this is a speed ratio of 3 or 400, so I might have to kick it up to 600, honestly. All right. Come on. There you go. There with the kelp cannon. All right, guys. Like I said, hope you've enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe if you did. And until next time, y'all stay safe out there.